So green tea is the name that was given to Green Day. I find it funny how Green Day was renamed Green Tea in this episode of JoJo. Honestly, when I heard the name Green Tea, I was like, if it's the color of the stand, but I'm just like, it gives the impression if you drink tea, you're gonna get mold or some form of disease or something. That was just my impression, but it's just funny. Like, I guess it's not the worst name change that a stand has gotten since JoJo's introduction, but at the very least, though, I had a good chuckle when the stand was revealed to be named Green Tea instead of, Green Day. But okay, let's just get right into it. I missed JoJo Part 5. It's been a bit. It's honestly been a bit. It was on a 1-week break. We didn't have it, and I'm glad to finally have it back because JoJo is a fantastic series. It's easily one of the best series of this year. I am always entertained to watch it every single week, and I'm just glad to finally have a new episode here because there's been a lot of interesting reveals been going on these past few episodes with Doppio to Diavolo and all that. I mean, there's just a lot of good things going on. So, I'm just glad. I'm very glad to finally have JoJo back for we can all discuss it week after week. So anyways, let's talk about the reveals. So, the arrows, the arrowheads. It's been something that's been kind of in the background of JoJo since Part 3. At the end of JoJo Part 3, Stardust Crusaders, you see in Dio's room there is a bow and arrow behind him on the wall, which basically represents what is used to create stand users. This is something that's been kind of foreshadowed since pretty much Part 3, when stands first started to come about. In Part 4, the arrows started becoming a little bit more important to the plot. We started to find out that these arrows could create stand users. We got to see that throughout the journey of, Part 4 JoJo. And then, now at Part 5, we're getting a little bit more to the origin story of these arrows, and how these arrows are somehow made of material, this meteorite, that can create stand users, and in a way, it's a virus. It infects people, and it forces them to either die or rapidly evolve, which is what we've seen these arrows do already throughout the story of JoJo. So, seeing the way this was done, it's just giving a little bit more clarification to where they came from, but also how these arrows are made in the first place. Apparently, someone in the past years, many years ago, created these arrows, and then, they were lost and eventually found or whatever, and then now we see what's happened since then. So basically, the arrows are incredibly important. They're made from some form of virus that has landed on the planet, which brings up a lot of questions. You're now left wondering, okay, so this virus that has landed on the planet and eventually, crafted, into these arrows, why? What is this virus? Where did it come from? What's its origin? What planet was it on? What kind of life form? And I mean, this is something that has been around in JoJo for a while now as well. In Part 4, we were revealed that there is an apparent alien. We were revealed that there is aliens in the series. And so we know for a fact that it's most likely an origin that the virus is from an alien-like planet that landed, and then now we have it here, and that is what has created these stand users. And it's not just that as well. I mean, we also got to look at it as, this arrow is just so intertwined to the history of JoJo. It's literally connected to the very beginning. For instance, the beginning of stands itself. If it wasn't for this arrow or these arrows being around, then Stardust Crusaders would have never have happened. Diamond is Unbreakable would never have happened. And now this as well probably would never have happened if stands weren't really unlocked thanks to these arrows. So, it's very important. A lot of, reveal in this episode. But, okay, I want to kind of back up from that for a second and discuss a few other details, which is a character introduction. We are introduced to a character called Chocolate. I'm not going to pronounce the other pronunciation to it. I just know it means chocolate. His name does, so I'm just going to say Chocolate. His name, or his character, he is someone, at first glance, he is definitely a one-dimensional villain. He's not someone that really sparks any interest of oh, this man must have some crazy motive, I can relate with him. There's nothing along the lines of that. He is just an individual that's a one-dimensional villain that's just outright creepy and just sadistic, which doesn't mean that is a bad thing. honestly, one-dimensional villains can work. It just really depends on the life the character is given, because that's what really matters. See, let's think about some characters that you could say just has a very one-track mind, like let's destroy the world or something. Let's think about someone like Cell, let's think about someone like Boo. What made those characters from Dragon Ball so interesting, even if they were one-dimensional in a way, was that it's fascinating to just see how pizzazzy just their persona was, just how much life was given to the character. Like, when you think of Majin Buu, he was a creepy guy. He was creepy, he was terrifying, even though he was just, had a very basic idea, just wanting to destroy everything. You're like, man, this is eerie. He's a really cool looking character. And then Cell as well. So, I mean, when you look at all these little factors, one-dimensional villains doesn't necessarily mean they're bad. It depends on the writer. It really comes down to the quality of writing, and that's pretty much what is being shown here. Is that Araki, he's always been shown to be a good writer. He's really good with stuff like this because he's had many one-dimensional villains in the past. And this new villain, Chocolate, that has been introduced, even though, like, he's very sadistic, he's messed up, he does have a lot of flair to him, a lot of things that stand out. Not just his design-wise, but just his personality really stands out. So I think many are probably going to really hate but like him as a villain for this upcoming arc. But, getting right into his backstory. His creepy backstory is just outright disturbing. He is someone that relishes watching how people die. That's what he enjoys. He wants to see their expressions on their look, like, on their face, like, you know, of pain and death right before they die. That's how he feels, what he wants. And so he became a doctor just for he could do stuff like this. And he is just an outright monster. And what he did to the elderly, to just, you know, what he did as a young child, it's creepy to do stuff like this, but there is definitely people in this world that probably would do something like that in some regard. So just seeing that, it's just disturbing. He had a really creepy backstory, and I think many are going to be like, whoa, this man just needs to be put down. It makes a lot of sense now why someone like Diablo would just automatically say they're scum, they're human filth. It makes sense now why he would say that just from the brief little interactions we got with the character within this episode. By the way, let's talk about something that is very important, which is the stand, Green Day. Now, the stand that Chocolate is able to use, obviously Green Day, is able to create some type of bacteria/mold that infects targets, which this automatically is pretty scary. If there's one thing that terrifies me in real life, besides, like, certain things like maybe spiders to, you know, just centipedes and stuff like that, you know, the common stuff, one of the things that really terrify me is, like, a parasite or a fungus that is able to infect you and somehow control your mind or something. Because there is cases like this, like in insects. It is a legit case. Stuff like that does happen. I believe there is a game, I think Uncharted, that is based off of stuff like this. I could be wrong there. I'm just saying, I know for a fact that there is fungus/bacteria out there that can infect a host body and take control, rewire their mind, and then just cause it to where the body is literally just used to spread the fungus/bacteria even more to other hosts. And this is in an ant colony that this can happen as well. So seeing what happened within this episode just brings a lot of nightmare fuel. I am absolutely terrified of stuff like this. Even if it's kind of unrational, like fear, like it's something that I don't think might ever happen in our lifetime, it's still just scary. It's just still scary to think about a potential fungus or something taking control of you, or just deteriorating your body and just ripping you apart, basically. It's just scary. And seeing what happened with these characters, I have to say it's probably one of the most terrifying stands, at least me personally seeing. It's just scary. Now, by the way, let's talk about how it works. So, apparently, once it infects someone, it increases its growth rate if you go down in altitude. So, for instance, if you get lower down, like, hypothetically, okay? Let's say I'm on a mountain, and I get infected. If I was to go down a mountain, obviously, the progression of the mold that's growing would be a lot faster, and I would pretty much die instantly. That's what happened with its ability. And so, if you're on high elevation, you're gonna be okay. You're probably gonna be able to be okay, or maybe even slow down its effects. But if you go lower, like if you try to lower yourself to the ground, like sudden movement lowering, you're going to probably die. Which, this is very reminiscent of Made in Abyss. That's an easier way to kind of explain this. Even though I know Made in Abyss came after JoJo, I'm just saying, if you've ever watched, Made in Abyss or read the manga, then you know for a fact of how the Abyss works when you go down further, and if you try to go up, it'll just, kill you. It's like the reversal of that. The further you go down, pretty much, you will die. There you go. But, anyways, yeah, Green Day is a scary stand. It definitely fits perfectly with a guy that just wants to watch someone suffer, because I can't think of a worse way to die than potentially just dying very slowly from mold eating your body. It just sounds terrifying. So, anything else left to talk about? I guess let's talk about the mysterious individual that contacted our group. So, who is this individual? Obviously, this person knows about Diavolo, which is someone that we know for a fact is obviously King Crimson, and we know that he has all this information about his stand. So, how does he know? How does he know about this stuff? That's the big question. And so, a big mystery has been revealed, because from what we know, Diablo, he has ruined and destroyed everything that is related to his past. So, how in the hell does someone know about him? So, I am looking forward to that reveal, and I think many can agree with me, we are looking forward to it. But, I think that's pretty much about it. I think that's about it when it comes to this episode. It's a pretty good episode. It's straight to the point, has some creepy backstory and all that, and it has a lot of nice build-up. So, let me know your thoughts in the comments below. If you enjoy my content, please subscribe. If you like this video, please leave a like. And if you want to get notified for whenever I upload a video, please click the bell icon down below. And with that, Chibi out.